Sorry for talking so quick before, I'll try and slow down. Okay, so this is just a pretty short talk, and I'm really happy to answer questions. I'd almost prefer to answer questions than just talk for a long period of time. But, so just a really quick introduction. This talk is just a brief rundown of what's been happening for the Gooseberry project. That's the code name or project name for a short film pilot that has been partly crowdfunded, partly EU sponsored. We're doing in Amsterdam. We're mostly working in the studio, but we also have some people online, like paid. It's all paid. It's people online working on this film project, for making assets, modelling, rigging, this kind of stuff. Okay, so we're making it at the Blender Institute, so we have our own facilities. I should have put a directory of images here. Loading images.
Yeah, it's probably still booting up, so it's probably a bit slow.
Okay.
Apologies, it is Windows. So.
Okay, yeah, that is Windows. All right, and my involvement was that I went over there for 3 months, and I worked with the artists, and I worked on asset management tools and some sort of boring back-end stuff, which I actually won't go into details about because it's like servers and clients and files communicating over a network and stuff, so it's pretty boring. But this is more like what's been going on with Blender development. This is just, we had a conference. Well, it's everything to give. Yes. Do you have an image for it? Okay, so this is more like a developer perspective, sort of the things that have been going on. So the previous Open Movie projects, we had sort of like 2 developers working in a studio with about 6 or 7 artists, and this project is a bit different because we've, so this is the Blender Institute. This is on our open day. We had a conference, and then we had a whole bunch of people come over, and they're looking over our shoulders. And developers and all sorts of people, artists, like people from universities and scientists. It's pretty interesting, actually. Anyway. So yeah, so we had, this project was a bit different to the previous because we had like 5 developers, and Blender, previous project we had like 2 or 3 developers, and Blender started off being vaguely complete. The previous projects, we actually didn't have the software we needed to finish the short film, and so that was a real like whip on us to get like, if the developers didn't get their act together, we actually couldn't finish the project. So this one we had a little bit of freedom to take risks, so we can say, hey, let's do this interesting development target, and if we fail, we can still make the movie, which is a little bit more relaxed, I guess. Yeah. So I might just go through a few of these pictures. Is it like?
How about by drive?
Can you just flick through them? They're not in any particular order. So these are just the film is about a sheep. And this is another character in the movie, in a short film. Some rigging examples. Here's a Sony Walkman doing some hair grooming tests. So getting hair right is really difficult.
Sergey is actually one of the developers as well.
It's a homage to Sergey. Sort of fits nicely. We have voice actors. I didn't get to meet them. They recorded after I left, but yeah. So animators doing sort of reference material. Yeah. Anyway, so that's just some example images. So just to mention the areas that we're looking at. There's been quite a few areas of development that we've been able to get away without. So things that would be nice to have, and they were always nice to have, but we never really got around to it. So now we have more developers, and we have a bit more lead time. We had, I think it was 2 artists in the studio months leading up to the project, so we've worked on a few extra features for Blender. One is asset management, because at the point where you're doing a movie, with multiple studios. I didn't mention that, but we were having multiple studios working on the movie. And at that point, it's not really efficient to have every artist like wake up in the morning and download 3 gigabytes of physics cache that someone's committed to the repository. So you need to start breaking this up and sort of having some project management, and it's kind of boring, but you do need to be able to set up the project sort of more efficiently for remote people working remotely. And you also want to have the user interface side of that, so graphical lists of materials that people can use, this kind of thing. That's an area we've been pretty weak. Well, we haven't really had much in the past. Alembic physics cache is also important. Some of you guys might have heard of that. Just curious, who's heard of Alembic? Like 4 people? Okay. I mean, it's a file format. It's yeah. The dependency graph, which is like the logic for how bones interact. The dependency for which bones are evaluated in, so inverse kinematics, you need a good dependency graph. The viewport effects is another thing that's been work in progress, and I should mention that these things are actually like partly working, or some of them are almost finished, so these are not like pie in the sky things that would be cool to have. We've actually had developers spend significant amounts of time on them. So we've got depth of field in the viewport, so I sort of thought at first this would be like some fancy feature that wouldn't be that useful, but actually it really helps to have good depth of field, because then the director can see what's in focus and they can see what to, where to put emphasis. Whereas if you have just like a fully focused image, even if it's like a simple viewport render, it gives a bit of insight into where to put focus. So like not focal focus, but emphasis. Widgets, like better ways to show handles and drag things and pull things around. Hair, physics, grooming, that's a really big one. We've had Lucas Ton working months and months and months, but also doing a lot of really important work on getting the hair grooming. So one guy has spent like ages getting hair grooming right, because it's really important. We've had some trouble with this. And the bounciness of the hair and the stiffness of different parts of the hair and how it interacts with physics. It doesn't jiggle, all sorts of detailed stuff that is over my head actually. Video editing, our director happens to be an editor by trade, and he's really good at video editing, and so he's really pushing us to make the video editor better. It's got weak points, it's got some strong points too, but yeah, so he's pushing that forward. And also just a lot of random stuff. The artists will run into all sorts of problems on daily, weekly basis, not like big bugs, but things that could be improved, things that could be nicer, and they might say, hey, we really need this, and usually we try and get it for them if it's important in like a 2-day, 1-day turnaround. Sometimes it's a bit longer, but we do our best. So that sort of sums up what's been going on with Gooseberry, but I'd really like to answer any questions, even if they're basic or whatever. So, yeah. Andrew?
Yeah, I was going to ask about the hair grooming. What sort of cool things can we expect? Improvements.
The physics of the hair will work a lot better. That was kind of a bit unmanageable. You'd sort of just twiddle the buttons until it worked, and this should be much more stable. Good presets for hair, much more predictable. At the moment, we're not working on the cool stuff so much. I mean, the editing should be a lot better too, I should say. That's actually using B-Mesh. The whole B-Mesh thing is actually going to be interpreted as hair, so you can do a lot more advanced stuff with editing, but we haven't got to the point where all the cool features are being added in. It's been a bit weak, and we need to really get the underpinning stuff working well. Yeah?
Any UI changes that you've implemented?
UI changes. Already? We're looking at being able to like drag, sort of change the color for many objects at once, or change the location for many objects at once. It seems like it should already be there, and there are ways to quickly copy settings between objects, but just something quickly. It's like a really small one. We're not really focusing on UI stuff so much, but I guess the other thing would be the pie menus. They're in there, but they're not on by default, so we need to get sticky keys working. So you can hold the key down, it opens up a pie menu, and then you can quickly drag your mouse. And Anthony, who's working on it, has some pretty nice like multi-pie support, so you can go and you can like switch between multiple pie menus really quickly to use like kind of a gesture once you learn how to you remember the basically
Yeah.
the position of the menus. It's pretty nice.
Cool.
You mentioned asset management.
Yeah.
Is that going to be integrated in Blender itself?
Yep. Yeah, we're going to look at having a sort of a plugin-based asset manager system. So you'll be able to register, like Python, you'll be able to register an asset manager that can work online or file system-based or using SVN or Perforce or whatever. And basically, you'll be able to write your own asset manager because it's the sort of thing that each studio has their own pipeline and their TDs have their own way of working. So we can't probably have a one-size-fits-all asset manager. But we'll make some sort of reference implementation if people just want to work by themselves and browse files on their hard drive. They should be able to do that, of course.
Would that be portable? So would I be able to create a library of models and then distribute them with an asset manager script for people to open all the models?
Sure. I mean, you probably don't want having everyone to write their own asset manager just because they want to distribute a few materials or even hundreds. Like, you should have something generic, but sure. I mean, if sort of the thing we're looking at more is online asset management. So if you want to have something accessing the internet and pulling materials asynchronously off a website, for example.
Good job.
Yeah.
With the asset manager, would I say be able to, because I do work with people from around like the globe, would I be able to say have like a Dropbox file that's shared with them, and would that like update with the asset manager? You get what I mean? Like,
I think it would. I mean, the thing is, Dropbox is file system based. So I think it would, but it's one of those things where if Blender expects it to be fairly instant access and it happens to be uploading a really big file every time, you might start getting frustrated with it. So I think it kind of would work, but maybe you want something more specific in that case. Yeah.
I noticed in the SIGGRAPH reel there's a couple of examples of FX and stuff like that. Has Blender been developing that kind of more advanced particles and simulations capacity?
Yeah.
Where is it going? Is it going to a more Houdini style thing or more X particles kind of?
I don't know X particles, but I suspect more Houdini style, where some of the Blender developers have looked at Houdini and just the very basic concept, not like on a copying feature for feature, but just the idea that you can generate point clouds and then have node systems that operate on them or generate informations, whatever. Seems quite powerful, and we would like to do that.
what's the production time? Like when will Uber finish?
I don't know that offhand. That's the producer's responsibility.
There's no like estimate.
I think it's like before the next speak-off or something, but it's in a fair while anyway. Yeah.
Does Blender integrate well with like motion capture data, like some of the more portable stuff that's like out there at the moment? You can with like perception neuron and things like that.
No, they did write the motion capture support we have now, but that's like BBH file format support. So the problem with motion capture stuff is you just get like this massive amount of data, and it really is a lot of work to process it. And even for the professionals, like the people who have their own special software, I think it's not like it doesn't happen by itself. People put on the task of taking the motion capture data and turning it into animation. And I've heard one of the animators on our team actually was saying that in Avatar they didn't really use the motion capture data. Like it was pushed forward as this motion capture film, but actually they used it more like a reference and they just reanimated on top of it. So I'm a little bit skeptical. People think of motion capture as this like one cure-all to animation, but it seems like it's not quite there. It's very useful in some cases, of course.
What about the facial stuff? Like, because I've seen some stuff where they use like a webcam.
Yeah.
I think it's Mixamo or something like that. They've got something that picks up the face and just uses your webcam, and you can talk into it, and that renders like almost in real time an animated character.
Yeah.
Anything like that?
So probably the short answer is no. On the other hand, though, I've seen people at like Blender conference show examples where they manage to hook up these devices into Blender. But the issue seems to be there's no real standard way to talk. These little contraptions talk to each other. So each time you buy a new bit of hardware, unless someone else has written the software, you basically have to pull the data in. On the other hand, it's not some mammoth task because it's just some stream of numbers, and you can, if you're a software developer, you can probably pull them in without being too big a deal.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay. Well, thank you.